Hi everyone, my name is Coco Ma and I am a junior in Benjamin Franklin College studying cognitive science. I previously did a master's in piano performance at Yale School of Music, and I'm so happy and excited today to be at the Yale bookstore launching my new book, Nightbreaker.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for Coco Ma's Nightbreaker launch party. I am happy to be introducing Max Sternlicht, who is YTV's desk editor of the Yale Daily News, who will be facilitating the event and introducing our author.
So first, tell us how you began writing and how you first got into publishing.
So when I was a wee little child, my parents actually, I was a huge reader growing up, and sorry, my puppy. So my mom would go to the library and get me like a huge stack of fantasy novels. She would just grab them off the shelf, and I would spend every single second of the day reading. Like I would read in the shower, I would read while practicing piano, which she did not like. My mom did not like that, but I give so much. I think I'm so grateful for her and how she just kind of, I think, inspired me to fall in love with fantasy in the first place. So when I started writing, it wasn't necessarily to be an author, but it stemmed from this joy and passion for fantasy itself. And when I first started writing my first book, I didn't know that it was going to be a book. It was more of a short story that I wrote for a school assignment, but then it just kept getting longer and longer and longer, and I thought, maybe I should try and get it published. So I embarked on that journey, and it led me here, so very exciting. Yeah. It's definitely been pretty challenging balancing and juggling writing with school, with piano, and seeing people and not staying in my room all the time working on stuff. But I have this time around been quite strict with myself, making sure to write like 1,000 words at least every single day, which I think writing is sort of like a muscle that you have to work out, and the more you do it, maybe not the easier it gets, but it becomes sort of like a ritual. So that really helped me this time around. I don't like usually kind of tracking my progress with word count because I think quality matters a lot more than quantity. But sometimes a deadline is a deadline, so you just gotta hit it. Rae Reynolds attends an exclusive New York prep school, but unlike her classmates, she welcomes nightfall. That's when she can secretly hunt deathlings, the deadly creatures that have prowled Manhattan subway tunnels and blood-soaked streets since the Vanishing. After the deathlings brutally slaughtered her parents years ago, Rae is desperate for vengeance. To get it, Rae must qualify for, and win, the tournament, a competition to join the ranks of the city's legendary deathling hunters. Rae's nightly pursuits should give her an advantage, but the other competitors are fierce, and in some cases familiar. Enter Kieran Cross, Rae's most infuriating rival, and ex-boyfriend. As the tournament progresses and the cutthroat competition escalates, everything Rae believed about who she can trust is called into question. Soon enough, she's caught in the crosshairs of the elite, who want to keep the city's ruling class in power, as well as those who will stop at nothing to bring it down. Because sometimes it's not the monsters waiting in the dark you should fear. It's the ones who dare to walk into the light. So it was really, really fun and exciting and challenging to kind of set the world in a place that already exists, but I did get to do a lot of research on New York City architecture, different cultural and historically significant objects to the city, and throw in like references to my favorite locations and stuff like that. So that was really, really fun.
I was going to ask, what's your favorite thing about writing?
Ooh. I think it's kind of the escapist element. So, I think the problems and the issues that the characters have to deal with in fantasy worlds specifically are like so much more momentous than kind of the everyday little drudgery issues of everyday life. So, for example, like, I think writing Ray's perspective and having her slay like tons of demons and go through life-threatening, life or death situations and constantly have like, you know, the threat of, you know, dying at her, you know, face, kind of makes me think, oh, I can probably finish that piece set. Yeah. Yeah.
Does your process change throughout, like when you start with an idea and you're working like maybe 600 pages in, you're like, I needed to change something up, or what does that look like for you?
So definitely like cutting things and rearranging things is a huge part of the revision process. I personally don't like killing my darlings, as we call it, which is when, you know, you've worked really, really hard on this chapter that you really love, but then, you know, your editor reads it or someone else reads it and they're like, I don't think this really fits here, and you have to take it out. So that's definitely painful. I think in general, I try to give myself a broader outline to work with, so chapter by chapter, but leaving myself room for spontaneity and like plot twists and things that my characters do that I didn't even expect them to do. It's like really crazy. And I like to sort of think of it as letting them take me by the hand and kind of building their personalities, their flaws, their characteristics, and letting that dictate their actions. So it feels more organic, and it kind of feels like I'm just narrating a story that they are currently living in and have already experienced. Shadowfrost started as a short story that I was doing for a school assignment, and I never imagined that it would turn into a full-length novel. So I definitely had to go back and fix a lot of plot holes. This time around, I started off with a more broad outline with room for spontaneity, and that was how I kind of crafted the story and made sure I tightened up all those fluffy scenes that I did not need in Shadowfrost.